All right, everyone, I'll tell you what, the market was absolutely wild today and the Discord was popping off. I'm going to share some of that with you today in this video, along with the different trades that I had out there. I'll show you some of the results with them and then also show you some of the reason why we have that community support that we do. And when I talk about helping people reach financial freedom and adding alpha to their portfolios, I'll show you just some of the evidence that we have with a little bit of the conversation that went on today. And I think it's nice to see that inside view, especially if you're on the outside and it's that weird black box thing that you're just not really sure of. Also, I'm going to provide a lot of commentary on how we're positioning the markets, the good with the bad, and get a really balanced view as to what we could be looking at from here into tomorrow and into the weeks beyond that, along with just some general commentary from a macro level. So I'm going to get into the chart so you don't just have to keep staring at this pretty face here. And we'll start things off with QQQ. And then, like I said, later on, I'll show you that Discord stuff that I was talking about, along with the trades, the announcements, all that, the analyses, all that stuff. So the Qs that we have right here, I'm going to start off by talking about the candle that we got today on the daily chart. Even in the post market, we are really super close to where we closed. That is one big fat indecisive candle if I've ever seen one. Having that narrow body and those long wicks off the top and the bottom of this, sitting on top of the 5. By the way, I was talking in my previous video about the 50 and the 13, the red and yellow crossing. By 1 penny, everyone, by 1 penny, we got that cross of the 13 and the 50. So seeing the candles up above the moving averages, the exponential moving averages that we have here is a near-term bullish thing. This is a very good thing to see. And so that is something that's very heartening. And if I also do this, we can see the RSI, it's up above 50. The volume, not above average volume of the last 20 days, but still not so bad. Now, let me take down the EMAs because that cross that we have with the 13 and the 50 is a bullish thing. And the fact that we now have all the faster moving averages above their slower moving averages, at least in the near term, is very near term bullish for us. A lot of reasons to be excited. So I'm going to put down the EMAs and bring up the simple moving averages. Here's one of the alarming things that we have right now. We just retested the 200-day today. 489.96 is where it sits as of today's market close, and we closed down below it. Not necessarily great. By the way, maybe now's the time that we actually look at SPY. So looking at SPY, we'll go back to the Qs in just a moment here. I do want to show you, I really do, with all my heart, think that this is the reason why we pulled back in today's market, is this test that we got of the 200-day for the first time. What was the last time we actually touched the 200-day? Going all the way back to March the 27th. So this is SPY. Once again, really indecisive, getting rejected at the 200-day. Remember, we didn't actually test the 200-day on May the 2nd like we did with QQQ. But we finally did with the SPY. I think this, like I said, I think this is the big reason why the market sold off the way that it did. I don't think that we're switching back to a further sell. Now, mind you, anything could happen news-oriented, but if news doesn't happen that's negative and draws the market down, instead, the market's probably going to continue the direction that it's going, assuming it can get up above its 200 days. So going back to the Qs for a moment here, on the daily chart, I think this big rejection, this big indecision that we have, was on the fault of SPY with where it ended up. Now, mind you, with an indecisive candle like this one, the next candle that we produce, if it's up here in this upper region, this is a bullish thing. If it's down here below the 200, it's more of a bearish thing. Whenever you have those moments of indecision, down here, bears win. Up here, bulls win. And once again, this is in near term. Now, if we go out to the weekly chart to look at, and I want to make sure you can see this blue coming down here. Let's collapse that so you can see more of the chart. This blue right here is the 20-week simple moving average, and this is the 50-week coming up this way. Getting the 20 to cross down over the 50, sort of a bearish thing. We don't want to see that. Getting the 20 to stay above the 50 is good. Getting the price action up above the 20 is a good thing. Where did we close relative to the 50-week? We closed 10 cents above the 50-week. That is a bullish sign. The 200-week, by the way, is like way down there at 381. Let's not go and try that out. And if we do, it will set up for an incredible opportunity, and hopefully we have a heads up leading up to it so we can capitalize on the way down, the way up. But for right now, I think that we have a little bit of safety for where we're at right now. We might have a little bit of retracement, but I still think the general direction right now is up assuming that tariff news keeps on coming out in a positive way, and also inflation data that we have coming out also keeps on showing subdued inflation. We really want to keep on chipping away at the tariffs pushing inflation back up. We want to destroy that narrative to stay bullish. Now, mind you, something we want to be watchful for. This 20-week is a troublesome moving average that we have, because that right now it's a reversion to the mean and we're still below it. So down here are those unusually low prices, and then back up here, like I said, reversion to the mean, we're still down below it. That's a problem. The 20-week is one of those big indicators for it. We want to sit on top of it. That's where things get really bullish, and we see stuff like this happening right here. This is the rip that we want. This is the rip that we're waiting for. By the way, the weekly RSI is up above 50. It's a little bit lower than it was last week, but it is still up above 50. So bullish as per the daily, as per the weekly. And if we look at the monthly RSI, just for comparison, now mind you, we already had that reversion to the mean on the monthly chart. Here, I'll squish it down so you can see it a little bit better. We had the reversion to the mean, and then we bounced back up off of it, and we'll see if we get that new all-time high coming in. I think it's going to take a little bit more good news, probably a lot more good news to make that happen. I've talked about my 4 pillars in the previous video. I'll talk about that again in a little bit. So for QQQ, for right now, the big things to watch, the 20-week at, we'll call it 495. We get above 495, we're probably golden, especially if we can do it on volume support. Today's volume was not necessarily all that inspiring. So if I can find the line here, there we go. If I stretch this out, these are still decent volumes, but we had better. And back here, remember I said these are really unusually high volumes. So try not to compare them so much to those. I would say compare them more locally to what we had April the 23rd and April the 30th. We do want that volume supported move. And I think breaking solidly up above the 200-day is what helps us to get there. So let me collapse that back down, and then we'll also draw this back down so we can see those candles. So just to give some other commentary, move on from here. And I will show you about the quantum stocks that we have on here, QBTS. I'll show you about the technicals on IONQ. That really helped someone out today very directly with how they were thinking about things. And I think it really allowed them to be a little bit more patient. I'll never tell you what to buy or sell, but I will offer what insight I can. SPY, same narrow body, a little bit longer on the top, but it did hit the 200-day and then retrace. Like I said, I think that's the main reason why we sold off the way that we did. Tomorrow's candle really does have a huge impact on where we go from here, at least in the near term. So if we put up the EMAs, just for a quick moment here, we actually tested the 5 and then shot back up from that low. We do not have the 13 crossing the 50, but if we get that confluence between SPY and QQQ, both with the 1350 cross, that could be good for the markets. If we move over to IWM, we have a full candle up above the 50 simple moving average. And if we take that down and put up the EMAs instead, there we go. We almost have the 5 and 50 crossing. And just like I said for QQQ and SPY, get that yellow over the red. That's going to be incredible. We definitely want to watch for that. All right, so what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to jump into the Discord side of things so you can see some of the things that I said. You can see the timestamps that go with them. And so that actually adds confirmation. It's not a hindsight thing that I'm using where it's 2020. Instead, it's okay, based on what we can see, this is what I think is going to happen. And I'm not right all the time, but I am right a lot of the time. And that's what allows me to stay profitable and keep on adding to my cash position and adding alpha to my portfolio so I can keep on investing in the companies that I like best. So let me take down the trading view. There we go. And we're going to put up, bam, we'll kick things off big. 145% profit on QBTS call. Let's go. Now, mind you, if I was able to perfectly time it, this thing would have been up. Now, mind you, I posted this several days ago with that transaction, and it was a little bit of a loser until the earnings came out. And I'll tell you what, sweating that earnings risk really paid off for us. 145% profit. Down below that, the long position I had, which was through SQQQ put. And why I went with SQQQ with the put rather than going with TQQQ and going with a call is because it's just a little bit cheaper, a little bit less risk, still 18% profit. I'll take it. If I move over to IONQ now, so moving away from QBTS over to IONQ. So another quantum play. One of the members said, IONQ stagnant. That was at 12:47. 5 minutes later, I got back to that person. I saw their message and I was like, well, let's take a look and see, because with one quantum stock popping off, they usually all pop off. And so this is what I sent to him. And this is at 12:52 p.m. And I said, that's an ascending triangle on the minute chart, my friend. That's a bullish pattern. Just need breakout and confirmation. Well, everyone, let's bring that down for a moment. We'll jump back over to TradingView and we'll take a look at 1252 on the minute chart. And let me do that for everyone so we can see. So there's the ascending triangle pattern and the minute that we're looking at. Down to the minute right now, actually that's 1251. But watch what happens when I hit the play button. And let me see at 5x speed. There we go. You guys can watch that play out on your chart there. There it is. Got the breakout, got the confirmation, and it goes. And it goes, it's still going. Keep on watching. This, remember, the guy said this is stagnant, and there it is. Boom. Went all the way up to 33.50. And I said in later one, 31.87 is the number to beat. And we beat that. And then the market sell starts to come in as we get later in the day. We just crossed the 3 o'clock hour, and we know that the market started selling off after 3 o'clock. Now, mind you, this is probably just a little bit of that profit taking as we go through. But remember where we were at. We were all the way down at 30 bucks. We made a 10% climb from that time. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about supporting each other in that pursuit of financial freedom, is that we're over there helping each other out. It's not just me, but the other panel experts as well, sharing their knowledge, their insights, their trades, their technicals, their analyses, you name it, all trying to help each other through options plays, through crypto plays, through just general market talk, just different thoughts, ideas. There's an Ask an Expert channel, and you guys can get access to all of that through the link down in the description for the Discord. Sign up using the earner tier so you get unrestricted access to everything that the Discord has to offer. And there's some coursework you can find in the description too. If you are going to do that, make sure you use code word doctor when you sign up. It's going to save you a ton of cash. All right, let's get back into just some of the other things. QBTS, check this out. Look at that move. Up, let me see, 51% today, and I had call options on that one. Like I said, 145% profit on that movement today. That was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that one. Now, some of the other things, Bitcoin, I said that we needed permission at 97,270, and just in case you needed to see what happened with Bitcoin after we got that permission, and let me press this for you so you can really see that. There we go. There's where it is, permission needed. There's the candle that we got with decent volume on top of it. That was awesome. And also I talked about SUI, USD. There we go. Pop this up here. SUI! Moving all the way up to its 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level from its highest peak to this most recent low that it had going back to April the 7th. And guys, we probably still have another dollar to go, definitely to my price target that's up here. So if you haven't seen my video on SUI, go ahead and click on my channel name, go down to the video where you see it's me pointing up in the air to a $5 symbol and SUI right next to it, because I think that we're making our progress towards that. And so that's exactly what I'm watching for SUI token. I think that $5 price tag is coming. So just to show you a little bit more of the Discord stuff before we get going here, let me pop that back up for you over here. 11:35 a.m. is when I posted this. QQQ has crossed about 488. NDX, which is the NASDAQ 100 index itself, has broken 20,000. And then I talk about this as being bullish, and I said we still need to sit on top of the 200-day SMA to be truly back into bullish territory as per the daily chart. So I do say also right here that closing above 20,000 is bullish, and that happens to be the same thing. There we go for 488. Well, closing above the 200-day and 48, closing above these values is a bullish sign. So like I said, that was going all the way back to 1135. And so if we bring the charts up on that one, just to see what that looks like as per the timestamps, and we'll even go to the minute chart, down to the minute on the Qs, so we can see what that looks like. There we go. And we'll reset the view, and we'll take a look for 1135, going back in time. Right there, my friends, that's 1135, and I will put a horizontal line for you at that closing price. 1135 closing price. I keep on covering it up. There we go. There it is. There's the closing price. And look what happened. Look at the rip that we got after that point in time. So now, mind you, that's off the lows that we got, but I even posted before that, posted in the morning that today should be a very good day with that catalyst coming up at 10 o'clock. And we sold all the way down until we got about to 11 o'clock before the bigger rip happened. But you can see we stayed up there all day until we got to the close. And I'm just curious here for SPY for that minute chart. There you go. So it actually tested its 200-day going back to about 12:52, 12:53 p.m. Tried to make that climb, but couldn't quite get back up there close to that 3:30 hour. Sold off into the close. Some big volume, some institutional buying most likely, positioning themselves for what could come next. So I do think that we have a lot of big days coming up here. So these calls that I've been putting out there, not necessarily call options, although I have a lot of call options because I do a lot of work with options, links in the description for the course if you want to learn how. But I will tell you that the analyses that I give here, I do my best as often as I can to come here and tell you what I see happening in the markets. And oftentimes, whether it's the stock or it's the indices that we're looking at or it's a crypto that we're looking at, more often than not, I tend to be on with the things that I have to say, the information that I have to share. I don't always get a chance to track it actively throughout the day, but when I can, I do jump in and I give out that information pretty readily so that people can find it. I do it here on YouTube, but I can do it more to the minute over at the Discord, which is one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of it. And the community, by the way, the community members themselves, over thousands of members, and they are just top-notch individuals. They know that we're all fighting the same fight, that we're on the same team, trying to reach for financial freedom, trying to add alpha to our portfolios, and just make it through the trading day, into the next trading day, and just, like I said, helping each other out along the way. You guys can join us. Sign up for that earner tier so you get unrestricted access. Links in the description. And that coursework available through Stockmo Academy. You can learn to do technical analysis like I do. Learn how to trade using the bread recipe like I do. Learn how to use options for trading like I do, as I use those for the alpha side of my portfolio to add that extra income, if you will, or I should say that extra profit, and then I can dump that more into long-term positions that I love so much. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. I'll see you next video.